really amazing conversation. I hope you guys leave this room feeling inspired, learning some new things, making some connections. Please talk to your neighbors as well. Say hi to them. I'm Alexis Tirado, and I'm the head of Federal Link. And now it's time to bring out our amazing women. Freddie Ransome from BuzzFeed's Ladylike, producer personality. Next up, you may have seen her on Vida, The Fosters, and countless other TV shows and films. Give it up for Chelsea Rendon. You may have watched shows like 13 Reasons Why, Hawaii 5-0, or Hannibal. This woman wrote some of those shows. Give it up for Helen Shang. Renowned artist and one. Okay, y'all, before we begin with the conversation, I'd love for you each to talk about who you are and what you do a little bit more detail.
Hi everyone, I'm Freddie. I currently work for BuzzFeed's Ladylike, and Ladylike is pretty much a collective of 5 women. We're all on screen, but we all also produce and direct and edit a lot of our videos. And we do a lot of focus on fashion, lifestyle, beauty, travel, the list goes on. And I think we pretty much just try to, crack the case of what it means to be ladylike in 2019. And it's sort of supposed to be ironic because there really is no actual meaning or definition of ladylike. It's really whatever you want it to be, and we all just sort of live in ourselves and live in our own truths.
My name is Chelsea Rendon. I am an actress, and I've been acting for 20 years, so I've been around the block. As you can see, I'm starring on the hit show Vida that's on Starz. We are getting ready to premiere our season 2, and I think we're announcing that on Monday or sometime this week, so keep your eyes and ears open for that. And I've also just been working on a bunch of other stuff. I had a project at Sundance that premiered called The Infiltrators. It has to deal with like detention and immigration. Also this year I'm going to be having the movie The Tax Collector come out with David Ayer. And yeah, I've done a bunch of other weird stuff, and that's me.
Hi, I'm Helen Shang. I'm a screenwriter. I write for television. I've written for Hannibal, Hawaii 5-0, this project for Crackle that didn't go anywhere, and then most recently I was on 13 Reasons Why, and love writing for TV. Hope to also get into features soon.
Hi, my name is San. I'm from East LA and I paint dolls. And then it just happened now I'm a designer. So I make like leggings, purses, but mainly I became an artist, and then from there I started transitioning to, fuck, I'm starving. I need to either keep painting walls and starve or create shit that people can buy. Because everybody wanted my art, but nobody could just like cut the wall right and haul it to their house. Like, that's Banksy, people do that with Banksy, but I'm not Banksy yet. So I was like, what do I do? So then it just happened by default. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make stickers and pop sockets and air fresheners, and hopefully maybe girls are gonna buy it. And then, yeah. And then I own a gallery, because nobody would let me in their galleries. I was too paisa. So they were like, so what kind of art do you do? I don't know. So you haven't gone to school for art? And I was like, no. So like, no galleries will let me in, so I have a gallery where I sell my art. I'm the art dealer.
All right, first things first. What made you work in your specific industry, and how did you get in this field, and why do you stay in it? Because it can get really crazy in all of our respective fields. Who wants to go first?
Sure, I'll go. In high school, for one of my senior projects, I made a documentary, and no one was really doing documentaries. Like, I was, super into like the iMovie, and like I had my little camcorder, and I did this documentary where I interviewed 3 or 4 different generations of Black women and asked them all the same exact questions to see how they like differentiated across different generations. And so after that, I was like, oh, this seems like a route that I would like to take. And so I was in the communications school at Howard University, focusing on documentary film. And so I wanted to move into like documentary making, production, like behind the scenes. I think I did secretly want to be on screen, but I was more focused on just like the ins and outs of how production works. And so, you know, I eventually fell into being on screen. I've liked to perform growing up. I was always in theater and plays and that kind of stuff, but I really fell into the behind the scenes in high school and college. And then, you know, after that, and I'm sure we'll get more into like later my actual journey, but now I've just sort of meshed the two together, and it's been a really, really great experience. And I want to keep doing it, and I want to keep trying out different areas of entertainment and production and on-screen performance, just because I think that, you know, the reason why we're all here is because we think that representation matters, and we want to make sure that we are continuing to show people coming up under us that you can be on screen, you can be in entertainment, even if you're not like directly connected, like a white man who has a bunch of people in his family that run Hollywood, you know?
For me, I was a crazy kid. My mom's here, and she gave me Coca-Cola in a bottle when I was 1. So I blame her for yes, look at that face. That's what I tell her all the time. There was a video. I don't know where it is now. But so I was that little monkey jumping up and down off the walls, and I always had a lot of energy. And when I was like 5 years old, when Selena came out, me and my sister would perform like her songs and stuff, like with the vacuum. And then one summer we were in Vegas, and I decided to fake pass out in the middle of the casino at Circus. And so I'm like, bah! And I fell to the floor, and my mom was like, Chelsea, get up, they're calling security. Because she knew I was faking it. The rest of my family thought it was serious. Like, oh my God, we gotta call security. Like, there was this whole like circle forming. And then I was like, oh my God, what happened? Where am I? So my mom was like, all right, we should actually look into this. And so we came back, and we went to a casting call that was like bullshit, like give us all this money or whatever. But my mom's really smart, ended up calling a channel that gave us a number to an agency. We called that agency, they said, take some headshots, some pictures, and then come back. And then also acting classes, so I did that, went back, and I booked a commercial, and then I booked the lead of a feature film. So I kind of just jumped into the deep end, and I've loved it ever since. And it's really who I am, because I've literally done it my entire life. And it's just like part of me, and it's in my heart and my soul. And I would not want to do anything else, but I do want to get to behind the scenes stuff. Like I produced a little bit with like some sizzle reels or a short film. So I want to get there and have my own production company at some point. But I love what I do, and I love being able to play different characters and bring Madi to life with my own little thug lifeness. And it's just what I do.
It all began with Coca-Cola and a baby
yes,
bottle.
I want to be a Coca-Cola chick, like me, like Cardi with Pepsi and like me with Coke. It would be dope.
Amazing.
All right, so the reason why I wanted to be a screenwriter, I think, when I was young, I was totally kind of like an outsider in school. I watched a lot of X-Files, which I just loved. And through college, high school and college, I would write creatively, and then I just realized that this is, television is something that you can get into, that you could work on, and you can work on those shows that made you feel connected, as a kid, which is how I felt. So came out here, did internships, did assistant work, and applied for writing fellowships for diverse writers, which we can talk about later. And the reason why I'm still doing this is because I just think about like how important television is and how people do find connections with the things they see on TV, with representation or just like as an escapism. So this is what keeps me here.
So growing up with my mom in East LA, I would always like walk around the area or take the bus, or sometimes my stepdad would actually pick us up and not forget about us. And I would always pay attention to the walls. So the walls like speak right here in LA. So I would see all these murals, and I would see graffiti, and I was like, damn, that's gay. Like, that's hardcore, that's dope, that's cool. But then I would see those murals of the moms with the babies, with the big dress, dancing. And I was like, that's very traditional, and that's like, I would see the political murals too, and I'm like, well, I'm not into none of those three, but I'm into painting walls, and I want to do that one day. I want to paint big dolls with long eyelashes on walls. But damn, how am I gonna do it, right? So then I started gravitating towards graffiti, but it was a bunch of guys. So I'll be like, I want to paint. No, you're not ready. Well, when am I ready? Like, I'm ready right now. No, you're not ready. Well, when am I ready? Like, so I was never ready. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna try it. So then I started painting, like in the backyard, which the backyard of my apartment. I used to live by some train tracks, so it would always shake. But that was the train track, so I would go back there and paint, and that's how I practiced. And then I started going into the streets of LA, and I was like, damn, like, I just want to be a part of the city. but I don't want to paint religious stuff, political stuff. I don't want to talk about the struggle. I come from the struggle. I come from EBT, broken home, no dad, selling tacos in the streets of LA with a mom that's struggling, you know, so I don't want to talk about the struggle. I want to mask that and paint dolls. And that's how I started integrating myself into the streets of LA. I've always been like, I'm gonna just learn as I go. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. I've never been like, oh, one day, no, right now. Let me do it right now. And that's how I started. So I was 16. I'll be like cruising through East LA, going to like downtown on my bicycle. And we couldn't afford to give me a car, you know, like, oh, you're a teenager, you have a permit, here's your car. So all my friends will be like, you're so broke. But one day I'm not.
And you're self-taught, right?
Self-taught. I've never gone to college. I graduated high school because I had to. From a continuation, yeah, you know, Mexican mom, tienes que graduarte de la escuela. Es un honor. So I was like, damn. So I failed like all the actual high schools, and I ended up putting myself into a continuation high school, and I'm like, I just need to get out of here. But when I found walls and painting and spray can, it was over. So that's my passion.
All right, San Juan, let's start with you.
Okay.
What does being a woman of color mean to you, and how does it impact the current job or work that you do?
So when I started painting, I thought I had to go to galleries, right? But I was like, I hate school, so I'm not gonna go learn about art. So I encountered a couple of times when I would go to like downtown LA, usually gallery owners are white or like well-educated. So they'll be like, what do you do again? Oh, I paint dolls and I wanna be in your gallery. So what kind of art do you do? Cute dolls. Have you gone to college for it? No. You need to go to college. You need to study your profession. You need to study the branch that you're in. You can't just be an artist and not know the terminology of what you're doing. So I'll go gallery to gallery and I'll go like in there, hi, my name is Stan and I paint dolls and I want to be in your gallery. And they'll just look at me like, who's this little chick? And then I realize like, damn, like things are a little harder because I'm like short, Mexican, and I don't know anything about art, but I know my dolls and it's art. So then I started finding like blocks. And then I was in a couple of galleries like in Beverly Hills, like Hollywood, but I would get kicked out because nobody was buying my art. Because what I was painting was what I was used to. So I would paint cholas, throwing up the West Side. I didn't know I'm painting what I see, right? So like my dolls were too gangster. So galleries were like, yeah, they were like, that's not our style of art. And I was like, damn, like. So then one day I flipped it and I painted a doll for Urban Decay. And I made her blonde, very covered, putting her mascara on. Where's she at? She's not in here. She's not in here. And that was it. My life changed that day because I made a girl that was more like marketable, not so like hood and chola like I was. So yeah, coming from where I come from, we have to change a little bit to be able to morph into society and be able to blend in and work the jobs that we want. I couldn't find a job, so I just had to make my own. So I just started making dolls and shirts, and it worked out.
But you still have a lot of like Latina dolls. That's like a big part of your.
I do Latina dolls. Like I have a black one here.
Yeah.
This is cakes. I have cakes. I have stacks. She's like Japanese. So I started making different dolls to be able to cater to all my people that love my art. So there's girls that were like, where's the black doll at? Fuck, I'll make it right now.
For everyone else, what does being a woman of color mean to you, and how does it impact the work that you do?
Okay, I could go. So what is, okay, in this industry, I think, you know, I started to realize watching television that most of the people who were making the television were white men, and that was the point of view that we were getting creatively. The majority was like white male point of view. And being a woman of color, I'm like, well, I also have a point of view, and maybe other people would want to hear that too. And it, you know, and also sometimes, you know, I'm a genre writer. I love writing horror. I love writing scary, like thrillers, psychological horror thrillers, which I don't think people really expect of me. Because I feel like a lot of people, not everybody, has, you know, in their head like, oh, this is what we expect you to write. This is the ideas we expect you to be giving. But that's not the case, and I think, you know, I'm just out here being like, this is my voice. I want to show people my voice because entertainment is for everybody, and we have to hear different voices telling these stories.
Helen, when was the first time you saw yourself on TV as a kid?
Oh, you mean like visually?
Yeah, you saw another Asian woman or someone you could relate to. Like for me, it was J-Lo on In Living Color.
Oh.
You know, I was like, hey, there's someone like me. You know, so yeah, what was that moment for you?
Unfortunately, so, you know, what the earliest I could remember in this country, because I was born in Beijing, but in this country, some stereotypical representations of Asians, like very exaggerated nerds or, you know, heavily accented people who was not anybody that I was around, but, you know, it's like, oh, well, they look like me. So it always kind of, you know, that sort of added a little bit of shame to your race if that's what you see on TV. If the heroes are one way, but the, you know, the side characters are like, you got to laugh at them. But I think the first movie, and I don't remember if I watched it in its entirety, but the first movie that I was like, oh, okay, interesting, was Better Luck Tomorrow by Justin Lin. Because that was a movie that was not stereotypical. It wasn't like, well, now I'm only going to portray you as a nerd, right? So that was pretty cool. I was like, oh wow, these people are like, they can be bad, they can be morally complex, they maybe don't get straight A's.
What about you, Chelsea?
So, well, for me, it's a little different because I started as a kid. So you don't realize, it wasn't until since I've been like a teenager and into an adult that I'm like, oh, I'm brown and I'm portraying brown stories. As a kid, it was just like, oh, I'm acting and I get to go on set and play a character. So as I've gotten older, then it's more important. And then I'm like, damn, I keep getting like the tough chola chick. What's going on? What is this? And then it's like, even recently, like I just dyed my hair for the first time, adding highlights to try to be more feminine. Because I did grow up in Montebello, East LA. I do have that thug life that's naturally in me that I have to try to be like, okay, no, I'm proper now. And like, that I have to do, like San said, like having to change a little bit. So it's like, yeah, so it's having to like change and kind of be able to adapt. And so I adapt very much to my environment. So when I am around like when we're like professional settings and it's like a gala or something, then I'm like, oh yes, pish posh, you know, or whatever. It's been more recently that I'm very aware, like, okay, I'm portraying a brown character and what it means to me. And it's like being a part of the Infiltrators. It talked about a dreamer getting herself detained to help get people out. Was like, she's a fucking hero. And like, I met her and I'm like, yo, you're a fucking hero. Like, you're like a firefighter. Like, this is no joke. So being able to play that is very meaningful. And it's like, I'm very proud to be brown and being able to portray these stories that's not just the thug life. Because there's so many different parts of being brown.
I guess I have a little bit of a different experience because with the internet and being in digital, it's not really so much that I have to sort of try to fit into a certain mold. I think Hollywood's a little bit different. I think traditional acting is a little bit different. So for me, you know, I've been really fortunate that I can, and you know, in general, working at BuzzFeed and being a part of Ladylike, I am myself. You know, I'm really pretty much unapologetically and authentically myself, which can be difficult at times, you know? So it's like, if you're playing a character, you don't get as much backlash about your actual character. You know what I mean? But like, if you are just being yourself and then you read the comments and people are saying awful, mean, rude things, it's like, oh, I'm not playing a role. They just hate me as a person. You know what I mean? So it's finding that balance between like, yes, it's really dope because I'm, you know, I'm able to create content and just be myself and sort of just release as at will. But also it's like, you know, it's that balance of, you know, just also trying to protect myself and protect who I actually am and making sure that I'm not like changing because of a few trolls on the internet. And I think that's really important because I think as a Black woman, I think I do, you know, there is a part of me that seeks some sort of acceptance. I want to be relatable. I want people to think that I don't want to fall into any kind of particular stereotype, so I try to like lean away from anything that may feel like, you know, oh, that might not be good, like that's giving the trolls a little bit too much fuel, you know what I mean? So it's like little stuff like that, but I think, you know, all in all, I try to be myself as much as possible. And like, you know, a lot of what I do, so for example, I did a Get Ready With Me for another channel under BuzzFeed called As Is. And this was maybe 2 summers ago, and one of the questions was, and basically I was just showing my makeup routine and like something that I would wear like on a pool's day out during the summer, and like one of the questions was like, what is the best beauty tip that your mother ever gave you? And my mom's like not like a makeup chick. She's not super into like hair. She's very like simple and chill. And I was like, I don't know if my mom ever gave me any beauty tips. But then I thought about, you know, it's really something that makes you think about your actual life and stuff that you never really register. But one thing that she told me was like, you know, in the summertime, like, do not hide from the sun. And like growing up as being like darker skin and all my friends were light skinned, like we would all go to the beach. They would be out tanning. I would be in the shade. I'd be like, I don't need to be like any darker. And like to me, in my head, that doesn't register as a beauty tip, but it actually is. But it's just more connected to my natural beauty. And then, you know, once I got, you know, more comfortable with my skin and like realizing that like literally all shades are beautiful, I was able to share that story, and I got so many comments and responses from audience members, especially young Black girls who I really, really try to connect with and relate to, and they were saying like, this is literally me, you know, like it's really cool to know that, you know, at some point, and hopefully starting now, I can start to really accept my skin tone and my complexion and not like hide from the sun. So that's just like one example of something that's really stuck with me, and I hope to continue to make that type of impact with my work.
Let's talk about your creative process. Like, how do you create your work? So for you, Freddie, what goes into producing a ladylike video that gets millions and millions of views on YouTube? Or for you, Helen, what goes into writing a script for a hit Netflix show like 13 Reasons Why? Like,
answer that question.
Yeah. We want to
Bound by NDAs. There will be no spoilers.
take us into your beautiful creative minds.
Writing for television is different than writing on your own. So for a TV show, you get a writer's room. It's a group of people, you know, anywhere from like, you know, 4 or 5 to 10, 15 people who come together and talk every day about what the episodes is going to be. We break the story, which means we come up with the story, we come up with the moments and the scenes that happen. And then once an episode is broken, we send it to one of the writers in the room to... Broken means done. Yeah, broken. So this time broken means like it's done. All of the beats are on the board. We usually work off like a whiteboard. And then one of the writers takes it and writes an outline, gets notes, and writes a draft of the script and gets notes on that, and gets rewritten a little bit by the showrunner to, you know, fit the tone of the show. Then it goes off to production.
I love your answer. Mine is a little bit more simple. I mean, I think for, and not as like cool, but.
What goes into like video?
So basically, we have to release 2 to 3 videos per week for our Ladylike YouTube channel. So that is to maintain our audience, that's to maintain our followers, our subscribers. And so really if we take any breaks, it really does hurt the channel, and we've experienced it in the past. So the thing is to just always keep doing brainstorms. We also tap into what we're personally interested in creating and also what's done well for us in the past. And so one example is like transformation videos that involve like us actually having like some type of like before and after, whether it's like a makeup transformation or a, you know, interior design or bedroom transformation. There was a video that I produced and directed and was also in back in November where we did holiday photo shoots with our cats. And so it was me and 2 other members of Ladylike. The pressure was high because we did want to make sure that these photos turned out. That was something that I think did really well because there was a whole transformation. We did hair, makeup, costume, and set design. So this was one of the larger scale videos that I produced in 2018. And you know, we were like, okay, so what does well? Like pet content does well. Really large transformation videos do well. And then it was also holiday content. So it fell right in the sort of that sweet spot of what does well on our channel. And so that's an example of sort of from coming up with the idea to execution, how we sort of make content.
Awesome. Chelsea, what about your creative process?
I guess it's different because every part is different. If I'm speaking about Madi, it's so me, so it's really easy. Like it's one of the funnest kind of times. Like when the show premiered, I got so many like DMs and messages being like, yo, that's the Chelsea from LMI, I remember. Like, so it's really kind of, it's like when you're getting dressed, it's putting on this character. And so for me, it's about connecting to what she's going through. So, I was about to say a spoiler. Damn, I caught myself. Man, that's a great example though. Okay, so when, okay. No, but like, so when things are happening to the character, like, okay, so season 1, spoiler, if you guys haven't watched it, it's your fault. But there's a video that goes around of Mari giving head to this dude. And so in that scene where like, I find that out, it was like, holy shit, like I've never had a video of me circulated or whatever. So I just literally had to put myself in the shoes of like, damn, if you're this girl and this video's out there, how would you feel? How would you react? And I make it very personal. And that, for me, helps me to like connect to the character, and then I feel like that makes it more real for the audience. But everybody has different like ways to do it. And then I've also been doing the Ivana Chubbuck studio. She has a technique called, it's The Power of the Actor, is the book. And it's all about substitution. So it's like if I'm doing a scene with like my mom, and it's like the objective would be like, oh, to get you to love me or whatever, I don't have a good relationship with my dad. So then I would use that relationship in this, even though it's with my mom. And then you get all those little layers underneath. And so that's something that I got to do more season 2 than I did in season 1. But so every time it's just different. Every scene is different. So sometimes I would use a technique, or sometimes I'm just like, oh, this is super me, I could just be me. And oh, okay, no, let me focus on this. The one thing I had to do a lot of research on was the activism part, because I'm gonna get a little Mexican, but I was never an activist. So that was where I had to do my research to know what's going on and be able to like understand why she's doing what she's doing, and then connect it to myself and personalize it. So there was a fire in me that Mari has in her.
How do you go home and not take that with you, you know, being an actress?
Some days it's easy and some days it's hard. There's an episode in season 2 where I was literally depressed for a week after filming. And it was so hard. And it was also when A Star Is Born came out. So everybody kept crying in A Star Is Born. So I thought, oh my God, I'm about to cry, you know? And I didn't really cry, like I cried a little bit. But then after the movie, I was eating at the Cheesecake Factory with my boyfriend, and he said a joke, and I just started bawling. And he's like, oh my God, stop. Like, no, like people were gonna come over. He's Black and Italian. He's like, yo, you're about to get me killed. What are you doing? And so I'm like, I can't. And I was like literally sobbing, and it took me a while to like calm down, but it's like, sometimes you can't. It's hard to like not take it with you. And that's why the Heath Ledgers happen, or like when Angelina Jolie had to go to rehab and stuff, like those things happen, but it's finding that balance. And it does take time, and sometimes you think you have a balance and then something happens or whatever, but it's weird. It's hard.
San Juan, take us into your
My creative process.
Yes.
So I like to eat a lot. So like my first studio was in my little garage that only fit one car, right? So it was my garage, the next door neighbor's garage, and the next garage. But we all used it for not a garage, so mine was my studio. There was one time where in 2014, Red Bull came to me and they're like, can we come to your studio? I'm like, shit, I don't have a studio. I have a garage. But I'm like, you know what, dude? You gotta gangster up. You gotta get out of this garage, go to downtown and find a studio. And I went to Los Angeles and 9th Street, and there was a big building there. I walked in, and I'm like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know what I'm doing. So I walked in there, and I'm like, where's the management office? Yeah, dude, like when you don't have nothing, when you're broke, you better act like you know what's going on. I went in that pink building. Yeah, I went in there ballsy. I didn't even have money for like my first deposit, but I'm like, I'm gonna get it, not a problem. So it's crazy, like my creative process wanted to expand. What gives me inspiration is when I wake up sometimes and I'm like, I don't feel like going to go paint right now. Like, I get shocked and I go back to my garage with my spotlights and I'm like, oh shit, you better go fucking paint. You better go paint. You come from a garage and now you have this big ass plate, you better go to the factory and paint. You better go create. You have no choice but to go create, get inspired, or else you're gonna go right back to that garage. Or I wake up in my queen bed and I swear I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in a twin bed, my brother's next to me. And then I look at my room and I'm like, get up, Sam, like get inspired, get creative, get inspired, because you come from nothing, so you better get inspired. You have no choice to be like, oh, I'm not inspired today, I don't feel like painting. So I'll be like, when nobody cared you did these big paintings and now you don't have inspiration, you better get inspired, so.
You gotta keep hustling.
Yeah.
Yes. Woo! Speaking of that, with greater success comes more haters. So how do you women deal with haters online or in real life? How do you navigate that? How do you navigate those negative voices? that are always coming at you as you're trying to achieve your goals and succeed?
I mean, I would say so I've been at BuzzFeed making YouTube videos consistently for 4 years. And so when I first started, the comment section was the first place I would go. When I would just, because the way BuzzFeed works is that like a lot of times people just grab people, like whoever's available in the office to be in a video, people will grab them and just throw them on camera. It's kind of just the way things go. Like we create and produce so many videos all the time, and like everyone, for the most part in the office is like interested in hanging out, or it's a nice break from, sitting at your computer editing to like go and be in a video. So that's pretty much how, I started being in videos like as an intern. And it started off okay. I didn't really read the comments, but then once I started being in videos more consistently, I would read the comments more and more. And like, I would say in general they were positive, but it's always those few really mean ones that stick with you. And honestly, I didn't let myself read comments for long enough for it to really damage me. Like, I honestly can't remember the last time I've really like scrolled through and like read comments in depth. Just because the few that I've read, they really upset me. And so I was like, I would rather not, and like the rest of my team really does read the comments. Like they are like, they will spend their entire weekends that they're not getting paid for moderating comments, deleting mean things, which is really great. But like, I can't even, because then it's consuming all the time that I could be using for myself, self-care, to hang out with my friends and other things, when it's like, a lot of them will just sort of, go through and take out all of the really awful ones, which I am grateful for, because I'm sure I am included in a lot of those, awful comments. But, for me, I just sleep so much better at night when I'm just like, y'all are spending time commenting on these videos and writing mean things, and y'all are still watching. And I am like, I have had a smooth 8 hours of sleep uninterrupted, like it's been, so I think like, out of all of Liddy, like I'm the one who probably looks at comments the least. And sometimes I feel, bad about it because I'm like, but it really is just better for my mental health. It really is. And for the most part, on other like social media platforms like Instagram and Twitter, it's pretty chill, but it's just YouTube. Like the YouTube audience is a different breed, y'all. Like it is a different breed of person. It's like they're nasty. It's like people, in their mom's basements who have nothing else to do. They're just like saying really, really mean stuff. So, and then I also get like trolls too when I make like political statements on Twitter or something on Instagram, which like I kind of like, because it's like I would rather share what my outlook and perspectives are on current events and like on politics or on like, Black Lives Matter, et cetera, and get that backlash than like be silent, because to me that's when it's worth it. So.
Chelsea.
So for me, it's different because I started acting so young. So like in high school, I had haters just because, one, I was a tomboy. So I hung out with all the guys. So the girls thought that I wanted their dude. And like Montebello High School, people were stupid. And so, well, it's just like really petty. And so, so all the girls thought I wanted their dude. Or the guys would be like, oh, she didn't like me, so I'm gonna talk shit or whatever. And I was also like popular. I was cool with like the nerds, with the band geeks, with the jocks and everybody. So I was cool with everybody. And so I feel that like my high school life prepared me for like when the tabloids are like, oh my God, she's pregnant again, or whatever bullshit lies they're saying, because I dealt with that in high school. One story I always say is, I remember one time hanging out in like the courtyard area after like football practice, and like I hugged a football player and I walked away like because I was leaving. And I heard these girls say, oh my God, did you just see Chelsea make out with so-and-so? Ill, da-da-da-da. But I'm like, I just hugged the dude. Like that was it. So I'm just like, whatever, and I left. And then the next day he's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, blah, 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 what are you saying? And I'm like, dude, I don't even care, like, whatever. So I am very lucky that like I brush it off, but it's the people that I know in real life that piss me off. So there was a girl that I went to like middle school, elementary school, high school with, and I posted a picture with Will Smith like 2 years ago when I worked with him on Bright. And this bitch decides to comment on my picture and be like, oh, I remember this girl from high school and all her teachers used to act like they liked her, but they hated her behind her back. She just had a loud mouth. And if I was trying to be in the acting world, I would at least be in shape, Miss Chubby or some shit like that. And I was like, and this bitch, I I still had the same number because for a long time I had the same number until like a year ago. But so I'm like, this bitch probably still has my number in her phone. Like, it's not like I didn't know her, like I knew her. And like I was nice to her and like when I didn't have to be. And so that's when like the Chelsea from Montebello was like, all right, bitch, like what the fuck? Like I was ready to like, I think I still knew where she lived. Like I was like, what the fuck? And I was like so ready. And her name is Melinda Torres. I think she works at The Habit.
What's
In
her
Montebello.
Instagram handle?
I don't know. I don't care about that. But it's just, I just talked to a friend of mine from high school and they were like, oh wait, Melinda? Yeah, that's like the white, like kind of heavyset chick, right? Like the ugly one? And I'm like, yeah, that one. And then he was like, oh, I think she's working at The Habit. Like I just saw her. And I was like, will you tell that bitch I said hi? Like, but so that's when like, I was like, all right, bitch, like, what's up? Like I wanted to like, see if I had her number to text her, be like, bitch, you have my number. What's up? Where do you want to meet? But like, I calmed down a little bit and I was like, let's not be too crazy. You're trying to like, be a better person and rise up in the world and you don't want to go to jail. So like I took like a chill pill, but the one thing that meant a lot to me is I had like 2 friends comment back to her. They didn't know her, people that I knew in the business. They were like, you know what? You may think of her this way, but her talent is booking her jobs and casting directors like her enough to book her. So there it is. Like, and I was like, damn, like that was so cool. But like I did, like that was the one time where I really wanted to be like, all right, no, okay. And then like I calmed myself down. But like I said, like high school kind of prepared me for like Hollywood. So it doesn't faze me that much. Like even on social media, like the things that I block are like creeper dudes. They're like, damn, mom and them titties. And then I'm like, ew, no. But so it's not even haters, it's just like creepy people. And and then like I also had someone that I was up against a role with that I ended up booking. And I know her through mutual friends, like I know this person. I don't think she knows that I know this, but I'm not gonna say what part it was. But so she ended up talking to somebody else being like, oh, Chelsea only got it because she's fatter than me. And I was like, ooh. But my friend also was like, nah, like she's actually got in shape because I was like training and stuff. So I actually had lost like 10 pounds at the time. But it was like, I know that she said that. So I'm like, ooh, okay, now I know who you are. And so like, I've seen this person a few times and it's like, oh, hi or whatever, but they're no longer my friend. And it's knowing like, okay, you're not my friend. You're just somebody that I'm gonna be around this business in and we're acquaintances or whatever. But for me, I just like, you have to ignore it because people are gonna say whatever they wanna say. And for me, it's always like, know your truth. Like my mom was a super dope mom. So she talked to me about birth control and stuff before I had sex. So I was at my high school being like, yo, go to Planned Parenthood, you know, get Plan B. So I was the slut and I didn't have sex yet. So I'm like, whatever. So for me, it's how my mom has helped me a lot. Also, she raised me to be really strong and independent. And it's like, whatever. Like they're gonna say whatever they're gonna say. As long as you know your truth, that's what matters. And that's what I stay with.
Helen, what about you?
Well, as a screenwriter, I don't think a lot of people realize we exist. So we don't really like get very many like visible haters online. People don't search me out to hate on me, thankfully.
It sounds like a great job.
I know, right? But I think you know, online we get a lot of unfiltered points of view on whether or not they like certain shows or not. And it's a lot of times it's like, oh, you know, these people, they're so dumb, how could they do this? And they just don't realize the amount of work that we've put in behind, like in the writer's room, we've talked about, trust me, if you're like, oh, they should have done this, we've talked about it. And there are reasons why certain people don't do certain things, and it could be for logic reasons or for reasons like,
Give us an example. About
I don't have an example. But you know, it could down to scheduling issues. Down to like, I know, I see what you're doing. Yeah.
Dude, I love that show.
Yeah. Or due to like production issues, like fire, you know, things happen. And, but I think for that, it's just thinking to yourself, like as a creator, there are people who like what you do, and that's your audience. Like not everybody is going to love a show, even X-Files, which I love. Like there are people out there who do not like X-Files, and it's like that's just as long as you have that in your head, that not everybody is going to love what you do.
So we're short on time. I feel like I can talk to y'all for so much longer. So I want you all to leave the audience with what's the best piece of advice you've heard regarding your career that's really helped you to get where you are today? And if you can share that advice with everyone in this room.
You can't be broke and shy. That was like, and then you don't need investors. Like, that's all stupid. Like, oh, but I don't have an investor to start. Well, figure something out. Like, I would paint windows. I said I was a sign painter, but it was all bad. Like, but I would go and be like, hi, I paint signs. And I'll paint signs for like little restaurants, and then with that money, I'll go and spend it on my art. So I was my own investor, you know. So I figured it out, like, okay, Sam, figure it out. And I did, you know, so like figure it out and don't be scared to talk. Like, say it. Like, go and be like, okay, where do I want to be? So me, I was like, I want to be an artist. So where am I going to plug myself into? Like, so I found my way in. Like, galleries didn't work. Being friends with artists didn't work because artists are weird. Probably I'm weird, but they're weirder. Yeah, and artists, like, usually they're quiet and they're shy and they're like, no, it's not done yet. It's not done, but look at it. You know, like, I remember going to artist studios and they'll be like, people will come in to buy their art and they'll be like, oh, you can't buy that one because it's not done yet. Sell it, dude, you don't even have money, sell it. Like, oh my God, so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do that, I'm not gonna do that, I'm not gonna do that. Like, so I would just do it. Just do it. Don't be like, oh, I'm not ready yet. I have to go to college and I have to graduate and I have to find an investor. Like, whatever it is you want to do, just start doing it. And then now we have Instagram and the internet. Like, we could do anything. Upload that photo. Even if the makeup looks crazy, just upload your makeup photo. Like, upload the video, or like, go paint the mural. Go look for that job wherever it is that you want to work. Even if whatever you have to show sucks, doesn't matter. Just show it. People accept you when you show it. Like, here. Oh, it kind of sucks, but yeah, come in. Just show it. Don't be shy. Put yourself out there.
I think the best piece of advice I got was before I was working on a television show and I was just writing at home, you know, wanting to make it. And someone, like a boss, I guess, like I was an intern for a director, and she told me, like, you know, you imagine your life in the future and you think that you're gonna, you know, be working a certain way in the future after you make it. No, like, do the work now. Whatever you're gonna be, when you're on a show, you're gonna be doing the same thing. You're gonna be sitting at home in your apartment, looking at that screen. So instead of thinking, oh, I'm gonna put in the hard work after I get staffed on a show, just do it now and treat yourself as though you're working professionally at the moment. And what you were saying about, like, you have to paint, you know, you're painting regularly. You don't have the luxury of, like, saying, like, oh, I'm not gonna paint today.
Yeah.
Like, that I think is also just, like, you have to keep doing
Do you find yourself with that now?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think.
Yeah, because you have to maintain it. What do you do, not right? There you go, homeless.
Yeah, you have to maintain it, yeah.
Yeah, you have to keep being inspired because you were in your living room at one point.
Yeah.
So now that you're up, it's like, keep going, like, get inspired. Don't get comfortable. You can't get comfortable, right? Like, oh, I already booked a bunch of roles, or I didn't know, I'll keep doing more.
I think for me, I feel like I'm getting it from a TV show or a movie. I don't know if it's something that somebody actually said, but it was like, you're gonna be the best version of you. Nobody else can do you. So do you 110%. Because it's like, everybody's gonna audition for a part, but you're gonna do your version of it. And directors always, Ivana Chubbuck says this, like, directors wanna see what they want. They don't know yet. When they see it, when you do it, then they're like, oh shit, that's what works. So it's like, I always try to be I keep it me, and I keep it 100, and I'm honest, and I'm truthful to me, and then I let that go into the different characters and let that go into the different projects. But it also, just in like networking and shit like that, like, I'm very honest. I'm like, my friend, I told my friend, I'm honest. I'm like, yo, I didn't really like the movie. And it was like, oh, bitch, why would you say that? And I'm like, well, because I'm honest. Like, I liked your work, but I didn't like the movie. Like, you know, and it's like, I'm always gonna be honest and I'm always gonna be real. And so for me, it's like, be you, because again, no one else can be you. You're the only one that's walked your path. People have walked similar paths, but you're the only one that's walked it. So when it comes to writing, like, you're the only one that has this point of view, maybe. Or when you're doing a video, oh, this is the lady, like, let's do this because I had this experience. Like, people could have similar experiences or whatever, but your unique story is gonna be yours. And so for me, it's like, when it comes to acting, putting Chelsea in every character is what makes it unique and what makes me stand out, which gets me the part. And that gets a director to be like, yo, I'm gonna book you in this too, because you were good in this, like, you know. And so in life and in your career, like, be you, be yourself. Don't make someone change you. that doesn't mean don't grow. Like grow, like now I'm a woman and like I'm more feminine. But before I would have been like in jeans and like my Nikes, been like, what's up? You know, so it's like I grew up and I'm still growing and I'm changing, but it's for good. It's not because I don't like me. So be you.
I don't know if anyone's told me this per se, but it's just something that I'm learning just day by day, just working, you know, in the digital internet space. But like, I think for me, it's like, if you find yourself becoming, you know, if you find yourself becoming really comfortable in what you've like really honed and perfected over a number of years, like, and you feel like you've kind of mastered this particular thing, like that means it's time to take something to the next level. Like you can't just like hang out in this like really comfortable space because I've been doing it, I know how to do it, I know from A to Z what works and what doesn't. It's really important to like say, you know, for me right now, you know, it's like, okay, now what scares me? So now I should try to do that for 2019, or like even for me, like working with Ladylike and being in an ensemble cast, you know, not everyone can be in every video, but I held off for so long being in a video by myself because I was like, no one cares about me by myself. And what if that video performs way worse because they don't like me by myself, they like me in the space of like with a bunch of other people. But like, you know, after a while I started doing videos by myself, and then like I started my own YouTube channel, and that's also scary because it's like, well, what if no one subscribes because it's just me by myself and not me with this ensemble cast? So it's like, it's just like pushing myself further and further has proved beneficial, and also it helps your confidence along the way. So just like don't hang out in that comfortability. Don't hang out in that comfortability for too long if you can help it.
I love that. All words of wisdom. Thank you so much. Let's give it up for these amazing women and this amazing conversation.